Shalom, y'all. Welcome to Havdallah, Sukkot and Simchat Torah edition, powered by rappers and rabbis. We have a
Yeah.
large portion of our crew here together. So let's just do like one quick, l'chaim. We'll get this started. Um, in the words of Rabbi Adam, who is back with us tonight from Israel, Sukkot is one of those holidays that leaves an extremely lasting impression throughout the year. And we're going to get into that. We're going to get deep into Sukkot and talk about Simchat Torah. But first and foremost, this is Havdallah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of kick things off with the Rappers and Rabbis remix of the classic Havdallah jam by Debbie Friedman. It's a classic. And what we do is we fuse together hip hop and Judaism in a new and refreshing way that involves hip hop and rap music. And hopefully, just seeing this video will kind of give everybody that's tuning in now and who will tune in later an idea of what we do as a fellowship and how we properly bring together the cultures of Judaism and hip hop. So, what I'm going to do now is play this video. And when we come back, we'll all go around and introduce ourselves and get to the main event tonight. But right now, let's celebrate Havdalah.
Hashem, what is Hashem? Smaller than any blossom, bigger than any Big Bang. It's awesome before Shabbat's done. Sip the drops from, where's the wine glass? Here I got one. Tip it off at the tippy top. Hold it aloft. Praise to God for Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen
Hashem, what is Hashem? Are we all one or perhaps some? How to know which problem is really worth solving? And are we all in? Are we half-stepping? Let's get past questions, settle nerves, spiced herbs and nice words. We're just lawn and we're a band, just observe.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei besamim borei minei besamim
Hashem, what is Hashem? Smaller than any blossom, bigger than any Big Bang. It's awesome before Shabbat's done. Put your fingers in the light until the light revolves them. A moment of solemn. Now it's time to get the job done.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei ha'esh borei meorei
We are together here tonight to celebrate Havdalah, which is a Jewish religious ceremony marking the end of Shabbat that ushers in the new week. I think that video explained pretty well exactly what Havdalah and Shabbat is all about, especially the imagery of the cup overflowing. I love that as almost like an image of metaphor for your blessings. Like, may your cup run over with blessings, with peace, and with love, productivity, positivity. It's actually something that I'm just noticing in that video is that imagery of the cup overflowing. And Havdallah is just I think it's become even more special as we've been doing these live streams over the last few months. It's something that not all Jews, especially at the not very religious levels, celebrate. But I think that what we do by fusing hip hop and some of these traditions together, it kind of opens people's eyes and ears to a new way to celebrate and live and learn and love these old Jewish traditions in a way that's new. I have a really good portion of our rappers and rabbis team with us today. I go by Digital Crates, producer, musician, songwriter, blogger, DJ, host, promoter. I do a little bit of everything, and I'm so happy to be involved in this process of bringing together hip hop and Judaism. So let's kind of, I guess, go around in a circle and let's have everybody introduce themselves.
All right. Hey, go ahead, Ali.
Okay. Well, I just jumping in after Digital Crates. Like I want to say that I really appreciate your observation of like just the idea of like no matter what like you're going through, being able to appreciate all things, big and small, and through doing so, seeing how the cup runneth over, seeing how we have more than enough, we have what we need. We have exactly what we need. There's a supply to share and to have that expression that my cup runneth over. Like for the last, I would say 2 months now, I've been listening to Aretha Franklin sing this one classic gospel song, and the refrain says, "My cup, my cup, my cup runneth over with love." I look at and appreciate the small things that occur. And so I really appreciate you setting up the whole spirit of appreciation from that standpoint. And
Amen.
appreciation leading the way towards seeing where the abundance is just by appreciating. So I'm Tex Rich Ali and I'm following up after crates. I'm a member of Rappers and Rabbis and
co-founder,
creative partner, and I love being a part of this group, and I feel an abundance from my collaborators. Like I get so many gifts from being a part of this group, so I'm happy to be here tonight. So I just want to pass the torch on and share it.
All right. Thank you, Ali.
Yeah. Well, we're here in the Sukkah, and the Sukkah is a place of abundance, and it's so nice that you noticed that, and that overpouring the cup is intentional, and that's exactly the kavanah, the intention behind it. Is sometimes we have to just kind of force ourselves, even if it's as easy as pouring, to demonstrate an abundance, even if we're not feeling it, because the act of doing it, and even an abundance of like just pouring more into a cup, it doesn't have to be an extreme extravagant, but that being able to act it out makes it real.
Yeah.
And that's what coming out into the Sukkah is about. So that can be the beginning of our blessing, can be one of abundance. So that's that's us from the Sukkah. Adam, Rabbi Adam Meir. You got here Matt Bars.
I'm Matt Barr I'm the director of Bible Rap and the co-founder of Rappers and Rabbis, and we're out here at my Sukkah, and even like when I was like, where am I going to shoot this from? Like I felt like I told Adam this. I'm like, I felt like a rich man when I was like, oh, I got a Sukkah, like because it's so luxurious. Even though there's some element of like, this is what our ancestors from 3,300 years ago, were propping up.
You leave your house,
and so it's like
you sit in the tent.
Actually, like, yeah, there's
and it
huge.
Makes you feel luxurious.
Right. It's like
Right.
a weird irony of like, oh, I'm out of like, because sometimes you even if it's luxurious, but it's like my house, or it's also messy right now. But like you're just, but for some reason coming out here, it's like, oh my gosh, it's beautiful out here. The feng shui is nice and it's out, and it's just like, wow, I'm so glad I had that, like, kind of like, dope man cave for us to go chill at, and even though the house is probably going to be rented for more, this made me feel like a rich man tonight. It's kind of temporary shelter,
Yeah, and even speaking of the little things, like we can actually hear the crickets chirping and some of the sounds of nature coming over your
Right,
microphone.
yeah. It's
And
nice.
for me, it's very soothing. I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
And we got one more member of the crew over this way.
That's the abundance of simplicity.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I was super grateful to sit in that sukkah a few days ago because, like I had said in our Sukkot event, I normally am based in LA and didn't have an opportunity to actually spend time in a sukkah. So coming back here, doing an event with these guys and just engaging that way was really special to me. It also felt like really emotionally luxurious, like in the
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Weird.
Yeah. Well, hey everyone, I'm Internal Rhyme. I'm not in my usual setting either. I'm in a hospital bed, but I'm okay. But I am recovering on these last few days. I thought about making a joke that was like, rappers and rabbis made me be here, even though I told them I was sick. But then I said, people take that a little. I ain't gonna trash our reputation yet, but actually, it's quite the opposite. I'm really grateful to be here. I have Crohn's disease, so I'm just dealing with a flare up right now. But today, especially, I've been in Gene's hospital all day, just like bored out of my mind. And the fact that I actually was able to engage with these guys in Havdallah tonight was very special to me. Like, it was something to actually look forward to today. So honored to be here. Hopefully we'll not be in this room very longer, but y'all will see me on all of these upcoming events. And I, again, am Internal Rhyme, hip-hop artist, and proud member of Rappers and Rabbis.
Couple interesting notes about some of the stuff y'all just said. One, Rhyme, as I don't know if people know, you reside in Los Angeles, as you said. And Los Angeles, jokingly, is just one big sukkah. It's really just one big area of abundance. You know what I mean? So
that's a good perspective.
In a physically built sukkah, you've been in a place that's very rich and abundant in culture and lifestyle and a beacon of the entertainment business. So for you representing the hip hop culture of our fellowship, you're in a great place to like really make your music from the heart and abundantly with emotion. And I hope people tuning in tonight, when they hear some of the songs that you're rapping on, they can hear that West Coast abundant influence in your music, even though you were born and raised from the Philadelphia area and spent a lot of time in New Jersey. And the other thing I wanted to say is talking about the cup overflowing. We always talk about how there's so many traditions between Judaism and hip hop, and that's definitely one of them. To speak on is the cup overflowing. Hip hop guys, when they celebrate their abundance, they usually shake up the bottle of champagne before they pop it open, and it sprays everywhere and it spills, and it's almost like
that's an act of abundance.
Yeah, it's almost like at a party with a bunch of Greek people when they throw and break the plates and yell "Opa," and it's like just showing you that, even if it's just the act of breaking a plate or spilling some liquor or champagne, you're showing how good it feels to have some sort of blessings in your life, however big or small they may be. And
You're right.
and Sukkot is really a great time to celebrate abundance, as it is really it's really like a celebration more than less of a harvest. It's kind of like and it also falls at the in the time of year of the fall of the actual harvest, especially here in America. But let's get into it. Let's get into Sukkot a little bit. Sukkot it commemorates the years that the Jews spent in the desert on their way to the promised land. So kind of like representing that struggle leading to a land of milk and honey, to a land of promise and abundance, is such a special celebration for Jews around this time of year. It celebrates in a way in which God protected them under difficult desert conditions. So it's not only celebrating that abundance and that harvest, but it's celebrating God, and it's celebrating our connection as a people and our faith in God. It's kind of like a renewed energy. It's known commemoratively as the Feast of Tabernacles, and it's really something special. Rabbi, I don't know if you want to kind of jump in and talk a little bit more about Sukkot itself. And then Matt, I guess we can debut our new song featuring rhyme, an etrav and a lulav,
There you go.
love. And
Right.
so, so Rabbi, I don't know if you want to maybe talk about some of the deeper meanings behind Sukkot, and then we'll pass it off to Matt to introduce this next song.
Sure, absolutely. So, yeah, so we're here in the sukkah, and we just flip the camera up for a second, and I'm not sure how well you can see, but we're under a roof made out of little pieces of bamboo. Not such a sturdy roof, but that's actually part of what it takes to have a sukkah, is to have a roof made out of sticks and straw, and anything really that just kind of branches to give some shade. And like you were saying, the shade is both a physical reminder of sitting in the shade in a desert, and it's also kind of represents the presence of God around us all. Kind of stepping into the sukkah is kind of putting yourself in a safe place, surrounded by a loving presence. And as a spiritual exercise, that's something that we kind of gather strength for in the sukkah, but we can really practice that all year round. And the sukkah is so the holiday of Sukkot, which is right now, was actually the inspiration for Thanksgiving, right? So there's a lot of connections there, and I think that like the pilgrims who were there celebrating Thanksgiving, they were trying to celebrate this holiday.
Right.
So that's also kind of a cool little connection there. And in the Jewish calendar, where we are, the holiday of Sukkot and Simchat Torah is the celebration of abundance that we're in, is always connected to the completion of reading the Torah and starting it again. Right, so which is kind of
Cool.
getting to the end, and that every end has within it a new beginning, and getting back to the story of creation of the world. That's always what happens during this Shabbat, which we just have, right? So the Havdallah that falls immediately after Sukkot, which is the one we're in right now, it's always the Havdallah of the very beginning of creation, where humans are created, and along with that is like there's so much depth in this parsha, in this portion of studying like what's at the essence of what it means to be human, that it really gets really deep into it. And the last thing I'll just say is that part of the human condition, since we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden back who knows when, is that the human was cursed to be a wanderer. Right? This is the curse of Cain. Right?
The mark of Cain.
No, sorry. This is the mark of Cain, right? Is that he has to wander around, and that's really kind of this existential state of humanity, that we wander around and we don't ever feel at home, and we've taken that and turned that into the push of creativity, right? Yeah, don't settle in, don't feel at home, don't feel complacent, right? There's always somewhere more that you can push. There's always farther to go. So it's kind of both sides of the same thing as part of kind of the human condition.
Excellent.
So some thoughts from the sukkah, and
Sukkah MCs in the house.
Yes, sir.
So the song that we're about to hear is a song talking about the lulav and the etrog,
right.
So which is another little piece about Sukkot. Part of the show of abundance is taking these branches and a fruit from 4 different species of trees that grow in the land of Israel, and these are species that need a lot of water to live, and taking them all
Mm.
and holding them together, which is a show of abundance of like that we're in prayer for water for the next year in the land of Israel, which really depends on rain. And these are also 4 different kinds of trees that have taken on a lot of symbolism, to include kind of a wholeness of body and a wholeness of peoplehood, and a wholeness of like inclusiveness of all different kinds of people, and holding them all together. And the custom is to take, and they're called the lulav, the etrog, which is a citron fruit. It's a citrus kind. The lulav is a branch of a palm tree, a willow branch, and a myrtle branch. There are 4 different kinds of trees that you hold them all together and you shake them around as part of praying for abundance.
You shake them 6 different directions.
You shake them,
is the mitzvah.
You shake them all around.
Okay.
You shake it like a lulav.
Word. So thank you for explaining that. Isn't it nice to have Rabbi back from the Holy Land?
Oh, this is amazing.
Remarkable. So he made me. One thing is, in terms of an example of this song, "Lulav Love," that's what it's called, featuring myself in Internal Rhyme. Definitely has some nice lines from Rhyme about L.A. So what Crates was saying earlier, you can keep an ear out for like his L.A. references. When you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I heard a couple in that track. And then in terms of abundance, Simchat Torah, the idea of starting the Torah over, I think intellectually for me, a big lesson is reading a text a second time is so much more abundant than the first time. And reading a text a third time is more abundant than the second time.
And 101 times.
Right.
More than 100.
And so the abundance of I like the circular abundance, but this circle, you've already gone through one circle. So it's kind of circles, spiral heading up, elevating, even though you're going over the same thing every year, you've already gone through it once. And so now your level of understanding is going to be, is going to grow, and you're, older. So so the abundance of reading a text a second time, and a third time, and to really, especially the Torah, which, as it says, turn it and turn it. It will not bend, or it will not crack, it will not break. What is this?
No, turn it and turn it, for everything is contained within.
Right. So it's like, you keep turning this Torah scroll. Don't worry, it's gonna. It's ultimate abundance in terms of, you read it the 25th time, you're gonna get something new out of it. And when you read it when you're 25, when you read it when you're 40, you're gonna get something different for it. And that's what it's here for us. The Torah by Torah, the whole kind of.
So much that they say a person who's studied a text 101 times is not even comparable to someone who studied the text 100 times.
Word.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So so this song we just cooked up, and next, and the last thing I want to say is look at, I got an idea for this video. Yeah, we'll go get it once it pops. Is so the sukkah, this is so close to being a green screen sukkah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So imagine next year if we get ahead of it and we have green screen sukkah, and we can figure out a way that everybody can do this song dance together. We can have we could figure it out, but
sukkah with infinite
for the
walls.
Video for this. Right. It could be great. It could be so weird.
The infinity sukkah.
Yeah. Next year we'll make a video for it.
Amazing.
All right. So I hope you enjoy it. This is Lulav Love, about the holiday of Sukkot and what you do with the lulav and etrog.
It's what you do.
Shake it like an etrog and a lulav, love, a lulav, lulav, love. Shake it like an etrog and a lulav, love, a lulav, lulav, love. Shake it like an etrog and a lulav, love, a lulav, lulav, love. Shake it to the east, shake it to the, shake it to the, shake it to the south.
shake it up, shake it up.
Shake it to the north.
Break it down, break it down.
Shake it up high.
Shake it up, shake it up.
Shake it down low.
Low,
Break it
low,
down, break it
low.
down.
Shake it like an etrog and a lula, lula.
Mama step into my sucker, touching on my soul, using real fine liquor. When it's how she shakes, say less, I took her. When it's in her face, made her mark like Zucker. She ain't pressed for a tall guy, I'm 5', but she know I use my lula right in the night. Eating up a feast outside my cooker, fall asleep to the starlight, perfectly bright. In LA, we get used to the palm trees, but that beauty here displayed got me on knees. Being gracious and grateful for one dance, putting their hands to the knees, put it on me. Rock with you all year, girl, it isn't apparent. We standing on a tier of Shamini and Terry. Can we start it up new like it ain't been top? Say yes, and I'm groovy like a Simchat. Ha.
Shake it like an etrog and a loo, love, love. A loo, love, loo, love, love. Shake it like an etrog and a loo, love, love. A loo, love, loo, love, love. Shake it like an etrog and a loo, love, love. A loo, love, loo, love, love. Shake it to the east,
Shake it to the, shake it to the,
shake it to the south,
shake it to the, shake it to the,
shake it to the west,
shake it up, shake it up.
shake it to the north,
Break it down, break it down.
shake it up high,
Shake it up, shake it up.
shake it down low,
Break it down, break it down.
shake it like an etrog and a lula. Hey Miss Kosher, can I get closer? I'm what's up, a Lowe's a toaster. Drinks on me, Bill folds a coaster. In my Red Rover, calling you over like, girl, you're so adel. Want to hear me rap about Cain and Abel? If you like that, think I'd be able to show me under the table. Take it like an etrog and a love, love. A love, love, love. Shake it like an etrog and a love, love. A love, love. Shake it to the east,
Shake it to the, shake it to the,
shake it to the south,
shake it to the, shake it to the,
shake it to the west,
shake it up, shake it up.
shake it to the north,
Break it down, break it down.
shake it up high,
Shake it up, shake it up.
shake it down low,
Break it down, break it down.
shake it like an etrog and a lula. Shake it like an etrog and a lula. A lula, love, love.
Yo, I'm looking forward to putting that out there next year, making a dope video for it, and it being a commodity for
good.
us, you know.
Yeah.
Real.
That's really it's kind of like what you were just talking about, like about reading a text or watching a visual for 101 times is infinitely better than watching it 100, even though it's only one more time. Think about, like, we just created over this past year an entire album's worth of music that's very special, but we're getting better. Like, that's our newest song that we've worked on, and we're better for it for just having one more song. So imagine another year's time, how many more songs, how many more projects will come together to produce. It's very exciting, especially now that I've kind of gotten the hang of flying back and forth from Florida to Philly every couple of weeks.
There we go.
It's a lot easier than flying back and forth to LA. I'll tell you. Cross
But I'll
country
tell you,
is-
you get used. Well, you know this, but yeah, I got used to it too, man. This bi-coastal life, you gotta do
I
it.
never got used to that flight from LA to Philly, man. That was a torture test and a half. But I could like wake up at 7 a.m. and be in Philly by 10 a.m. You know what I mean? It's an amazing thing. So
Right.
I'm hoping throughout this next year to really, for us all to kind of link back up and get into creation mode. And as we're releasing our debut album, hopefully we'll really ramp up production on album number 2 and be able to involve all the members of our fellowship as well as new members that we're hoping to bring in this year.
Yeah.
If you're interested in any of what I just talked about and you're tuning in now or watching later, check us out on our website, www.rappersandrabbis.com, or follow us on social media at Rappers and Rabbis to stay up to date with what we got going on. Hit me up at Digital Crates. Hit up Matt at Bible Raps. Hit up Textrich Ali at Textrich Ali, Internal Rhyme. We're all easy to find online, and we're all good communicators. So for anybody that feels like they're a stranger, don't be. Just hit us up. You know what I mean? Send us a message on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever you use. I guarantee you we will write back and we'll get in touch and hopefully build on a better future for all of us. Okay, we covered Havdallah, we covered Sukkot, but this is also an extremely special time of year, as Rabbi touched on a little bit. It is the celebration of Simchat Torah, which kind of roughly is translated to rejoicing with or of the Torah, celebrating the Torah, celebrating the love and the light that is brought forth from that ancient text. This is a holiday that marks the conclusion of the annual cycle of Torah readings and the beginning of the next cycle. Simchat Torah is a component of Jewish holidays, which follows immediately after the festival of Sukkot. The main celebrations of Simchat Torah take place in the synagogue, but it's really something to be celebrated in your daily life. It's really a renewal, as they say in Mishabeach, it's a renewal of body, it's a renewal of spirit in ending and beginning the next cycle of the year and of the Torah. It's really amazing. I remember as a kid, in synagogue and in Sunday school how special Simchat Torah was and how much of a celebration it was. On these occasions, when the ark in the synagogue is open, the worshipers and the congregants are encouraged to get out of their seats and get up and dance and be joyous in a celebration that sometimes can last for hours. And I remember that as a kid in synagogue. I remember those Simchat Torah celebrations being completely epic. And I think the best song that we have in our arsenal to celebrate this occasion clearly is our remixed version of the Shema. But before we play the Shema, I want to kind of pass it over back to Rabbi and see if you can kind of give us a little bit more insight into the deeper meanings of this special celebration.
Sure. And also, let me tell you, this Simchat Torah, which was on Tuesday this past week, I was in Israel, and I was in a synagogue I had never been in before. And when I got there, I was the youngest in the room by 20 years. But as the hour filled out, there were a bunch more people came. And when they opened up the ark to take out the Torah, all the Torahs were dancing around, and this guy gets up on the bima in the middle of the circle with a bottle of vodka, and everyone who dances in the circle, he just gives them a shot. The whole way around.
Man.
It got crazy. We started singing there. L'chaim. But Simchat Torah really is a wonderful celebration. It's a celebration of Torah. And it's the ending of the Torah and the beginning of Torah, and that cycle, right, is our Cypher, right? That's right. Our circle. It's the circle of life. It's the circle of Torah, right? Because Torah is the tree of life. And what happens on Simchat Torah, on this celebration of Torah within the Cypher, is that any piece of Torah is invited to come out. And right, there's not like, oh, it's this portion, or we're talking about this theme, or it's this topic we're talking about. Any piece of Torah is invited to come out. Anything is welcome. And any piece of it, any piece of the whole is a celebration of Torah. And that kind of invitation of Simchat Torah, it kind of gives us gives us the voice to continue learning and sharing Torah. And one piece of this, which I'd like to share, and then we'll get into the song, is when in the story in the Torah, in the book of Exodus, when the people of Israel were standing around Mount Sinai, and there was thunder and lightning, and God was saying the words of Torah. The verse says that God spoke and Moses responded. Right? Moses spoke, and God responded. Right? So God's saying the Ten Commandments, and Moses is kind of relaying them to the people, and the way that one interpretation of that from the Mea Shiloach, the Hasidic interpretation, is that Moses said the words of the Torah, like the words as they're written in the Torah, and God went around and kind of inscribed upon every single person those words, which means that each person has their own kind of straight from God, their own valid connection and interpretation of Torah, right? So long as it exists as part of the whole, and that's our, that's something that's very special that we have, and it's also a responsibility is to make sure that our piece of the Torah and our interpretation of the Torah is then contributed to the whole. So that's also part of this Cypher of Simchat Torah, of the celebration surrounding Torah. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. And, it's like also, too, I wanted to kind of correlate a little bit of the celebration with hip-hop, because that's what we do at Rappers and Rabbis, is this weekend, for instance, is the BET Awards, Black Entertainment Television Awards. A lot of award shows, not just BET, but the MTV Awards, the American Music Awards, the Grammys, any of these like award shows, but especially the hip-hop ones, the Soul Train Awards and the BET Awards. It's a time to celebrate what's happened that year. But if you guys have watched any award show, there's usually like Lifetime Achievement Awards, Video Vanguard Awards to people who have been, in the game for a long time. And even though it's a celebration of this year, it's also, you can, like you said about the Torah, you can celebrate any piece of it, any part of it. And at these award shows, that's usually what they tend to do. They usually tend to go back through all the pages of hip-hop history and kind of celebrate whatever they feel like is special at the moment. And so Simchat Torah is almost like the BET Awards. It's kind of interesting that it fell on the same weekend. That's kind of why I had mind to say that. But yes, shout out to everybody in Atlanta this weekend for the BET Awards. It's definitely, in these times that we're going through in life, there's something special about these celebrations and just finding anything to celebrate, whether it's turning the pages of the Torah or celebrating what was the best hip hop video of the year. It's just makes it even more special in this time. And this video that we have made for our Shema remix is so incredibly special, in my opinion. This is something that week after week that we've been doing these live streams, this seems to be everybody's favorite song and video, and really a strong potential to be the single from our upcoming album. And as these next couple of weeks go by, we're going to get into what we call in hip hop album mode. And you're going to be hearing a lot more about what we have in store with our music and our videos. But if you're interested in the best example of really what we have coming on this first album, it would be this Shema remix. So without further ado, let's praise.
One time for your mind, one time for your mind. One guy from the squad, one guy from the squad, one guy from the squad. One time for your mind, one time for your mind. One guy from the squad, one guy from the squad, one guy from the squad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad.
Breathing what is Holy Spirit like? 1 foot, 1 love, and 1 mic. 1 race, 1 God, and 1 light. 2 hands, one left and one right. The many and the all involved in one fight. When divisions the plight gets solved and we unite. Cause one ain't free if all ain't free. And you are not you if I am not me. Contemplate, elevate with the Elohim. Rappers and rabbis, one hell of a team. Building with the Musar, expressing a few bars. Traveling so far to the sound of the shofar.
One of a kind hanging from the one vine. Wild grapes in the shade sometime become fine wine with a little sunshine. It's an hour past noon, can I get a one time? One time for your mind. One time for your mind. One guy from the squad, one guy from the squad, one guy from the squad. One time for your mind. One time for your mind. One guy from the squad, one guy from the squad, one guy from the squad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad. Not trying to be a prophet, but he who parted the sea is a part of me. When I look in my heart, I see the same history and mystery. I'm G-D'd up, I'ma read up with my feet up. Sabbath is just practice so we all get freed up. Please plant your seeds up, Israel's the bride and the groom's inside. One of a kind hanging from the one vine. Wild grapes in the shade sometime become fine wine with a little sunshine. It's an hour past noon, can I get a one time? One time for your mind. One time for your mind. One guy from the squad, one guy from the squad, one guy from the squad. One time for your mind. One time for your mind. One guy from the squad, one guy from the squad, one guy from the squad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad.
Yeah, that song kind of, I mean, I've heard it 100 times, but on the 101st listen,
That's right.
it makes me love it even more than I did when I heard it a couple days ago. Like, there's
Nice.
something really special about that song, but I think it's due to the fact that there's just something so special about the prayer Shema itself and its centerpiece in our Judaism, in our services. But super shout out to Ali, Texter Ali, with a show-stopping verse on that song.
Right.
The flow, the bars. I mean, that
It's
is
incredible, yeah.
I mean, and Ali too is, in my opinion, a pretty accomplished musician, but also an incredible wordsmith. So shout out to you, Ali, for really helping to bring a lot of these songs from a producer's perspective, really bringing them to life, taking them to another level. Every song that you worked on and are featured on are my favorites, if we're being honest. But
Thanks for saying that, Crates.
yeah,
Since you said that, I gotta jump in and say
yeah,
that
please.
I also have to acknowledge that I think a lot of like my creative movements are encouraged and kind of challenged and pushed by Matt Barr.
Yep.
So like, he recognizes that maybe that I have certain ideas, but then also he has ideas. And so I think a lot of like what I contribute, it goes through a certain process of just back and forth creativity, sharing, and I'm kind of, sometimes I'm uncompromising with my bars, but then at the same time, like I'm also very appreciative of the producer's role. So I think like Matt and I have a great dynamic for like just like hearing things together and sharing what works well for all of us in a bigger sense, like in the creative process. So it's fun to create for the process. In fact, it's so fun. We were like Matt and I were doing Bible raps, and I believe we were in Cleveland at the moment where I started to craft those bars.
Right. Or was it Indianapolis? I think it was Indianapolis. Yeah.
It was in
the Midwest. Right. What happens in the Midwest stays in the Midwest.
Right. And even Ali, what you're saying about that process of you and I kind of like churning up something that we wouldn't do alone, but together it turns up into something that's like, okay, kind of cool. On Hami Ra, that like echo moment, the and we all want world peace. and we all want world peace. Like, remember, that wasn't like that, but then you and I worked on it one night, and like that shit, I mean, Hamirah, like when we do it live, that shit pops, and it's, you know, in part because it has those moments where it really creates a nice momentum, and like you can't help but just get into it, you know, all want world, you know, so little moments that you're not even on that track, but that was that
your contribution is on that track.
Right. That verse is you and I crafting an experience, you know, a musical moment. Yeah, you know,
a lot of those things happen between us. So, and I think that it all's meant to go towards the canon of what we can contribute to the music that we want to share with others.
Yeah,
spirit of Chavruta.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's kind of
that's the term.
Collaboration is so key, but in the spirit of Judaism, as we practice Chavruta, which is really like almost like a tennis match, if you will, a one-on-one of bringing out the best experience of, you know, each one teach one, of us educating each other and helping others to grow. I think what we have going on here as a fellowship is something extremely special, and I can't wait to share with people a lot more of the music and content and programs that we've been working on. Again, if you're interested,
our fellowship coming up.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're interested, check us out at rappersandRabbis.com. And Matt, if you want to take a second and just speak on our Fellowship 2.0 that's coming up this fall, as well as our special Musar programs, maybe you can just touch on that for a minute real quick.
Sure. So we're going to do a fellowship, which is 2 different tracks, and it's a 2-month commitment, about 5 hours each week of those 2 months. You can either sign up to be part of the Beat Midrash, which is kind of going to be, you know, we'll all be like teacher assistants, but kind of the lead teacher will be Crates, and it's going to be kind of applying Jewish ethics to entrepreneurialism, and Musar is what it's called, which we all have experience teaching. And then, so that's the Beat Midrash. If you want to basically learn interesting texts about different virtues to bring to your personal and professional life, you can sign up for the Beat Midrash. And then there's the Beat Knesset if you're interested in kind of helping us continue to remix Jewish prayer and make the Jewish prayer experience more enjoyable without compromising the tradition. And so right now we remix these traditional Jewish prayers with rap bars and hip hop beats. And we also try to integrate the Cypher, these elements of the Cypher, like freestyle rapping, written rapping, dancing, beatboxing, and meshing that into this, making a kind of unique hip hop prayer service. That the only thing to make it like understandable or intelligible is what we're trying to do is what Kanye West is trying to do with Donda, you know, or what we're trying to do in that Jewish world. And you know, I don't think any of us are as confident as Kanye to call us geniuses. But what we got, there's 6 of us though, 7 of us. You know what I'm saying?
8, 9, 10
of us, and we only get and what we're able to bring out with from one another and all together, like, you know, is we made a really remarkable foundation for a new type of Jewish prayer service that is really nicely enmeshed with hip hop. And I think, you know, and kind of like, so we want to get it out there and get to people's communities and get other people to be hip to the little prayer book so they can actually do the hip hop, you know. So that's the plan, of kind of like making it a new movement of hip hop Jewish prayer service. And so if you want to be part of that process, that's the Beat Knesset. So there's 2 different tracks. You go to Rappers and Rabbis and sign up to be part of the fellowship, you know, Jewish ethics or Jewish prayer.
Yeah, so please check us out on all social media at Rappers and Rabbis, or on our website. You can see the link right below. We'll try to figure it out. There we go, Rappers and Rabbis. And yeah, I'm just so excited for what's to come. We spent like a really pretty extended amount of time building the foundation, if you will. And now I think it's time to start getting to the first floor. You know what I mean? To start really building up this beat Knesset, this house, and the Beat Midrash program is this is all going to be something special, because I feel like over this last year we all learned so much from each other, not just about Judaism but also about hip hop. And I think moving into 2022, it's just going to be really special for anybody that wants to get involved. I think we're really, like you say, breaking some new ground here and creating something that's really memorable. And also, we it doesn't mean much, I think, to anybody. You not no to all of us, but I'm saying to the average person that like doesn't build on new things like this. It doesn't mean much to somebody like that, but to people like us that have taken our spare time, our free time, if you will, and put that energy into building a program and a fellowship like this, being considered by some of our peers in Jewish Federation and other nonprofit organizations, for people to look at us as thought leaders in this space, is something that I feel is like my cup running over with abundance. And even friends and family that have been following my musical career for the past 20 years, in the past year that I've been a part of this, people have taken what I've done so much more seriously, and with a renewed interest, and a renewed vigor. So, I'm extremely thankful for the abundance of what we've been doing as a team, this past year.
And that's really awesome to hear you say that, because you bring together like really good strengths of both the professional world of working in music and our community building sector,
Yes.
and our nonprofit and educational sector. Like, so, like, having you on a team, and like your output is one of a professional musician.
Yeah.
So you bring that enthusiasm to the table for the squad, and we learn a lot from you. So that's
it's in a similar example, right? I moved down to Florida a little less than a year ago, and when I moved down here, people that I know that have either were born and raised here or have been living here for a few years, they look at me as someone who reminds them that there's palm trees, like reminds them that there's the beach. People you get so stuck in the daily rut of your life that sometimes you forget that there's a beautiful tree above you.
Right.
That kind of goes back to Sukkot. You're supposed to look up to the sky, and you're supposed to look around you in nature and realize just how fragile and special life is in general.
It's full circle to those lines that you guys were referencing earlier from my verse from the Sukkot thing, which is, I say, in LA, we get used to the palm trees, but that beauty here displayed got me on knees. And it was that same feeling as I was writing that verse. It was like, yeah, bro, sometimes you really do have to pause, and Sukkot is a perfect holiday to do that.
You know what? Another line that's been debated the last couple of weeks, you mentioned Kanye's new album. Jay-Z has a line on the album where Jay-Z goes, I prayed so many times I prayed so many times, so many felonies. And a lot of people think that he meant felonies like breaking the law and getting locked up in jail. But he was saying fell on knees. Like he fell on his knees.
Oh, wow.
I heard that line a million times. I never thought about that. That's crazy.
Oh my God, that's one of the hottest debated lines in the religious hip hop space of the last few weeks. And I caught it. When I first heard that song, and then even the line where he's like, "God in my cell." And even where he says like, "God in my cell," that's my cellie, and he's talking. People thought he was talking about like a jail cell, like his God, but he was talking about in his cells, in his DNA, he has God. So I suggest everybody go back and listen to that song. Even I'm going to jail tonight.
We'll do that.
Like jail is a metaphor in the song for the afterlife. So really go back and listen to that song. Shout out to Kanye and Jay-Z. They put aside a lot of differences to come back together this year and make a piece of art that's so special in the hip hop and religious space.
It really is. Yeah, it's the only thing to make it. It gives us a like. There's not many people really going hard. I mean, there are some. Don't get me wrong, but it's just cool to see that. Yeah, some greats are.
Yeah.
Well, I think it also like when Crates was making gospel beats the other day.
Right.
It's just keeping in mind that there is a continuity, there's a tradition, and there's a connection between hip hop, gospel, and like our principles that we discuss.
Yeah.
But certainly within musical traditions. Like,
absolutely.
No, it's like Ali. You ever heard somebody go to a concert and say, "Oh, that was like a religious experience"?
Right. That's the best compliment.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Big. That's the best compliment. Right.
I want to try and bring this to a close. I unfortunately, it's been so positive, and I hate to bring it down a notch into some negative space. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about what's going on in Philadelphia the last couple nights. There's been over 10 homicides in the city since Friday afternoon. It's not even Saturday night, and there's already been 10 homicides in the city of Philadelphia just this weekend. It's horrible, and I'm doing everything I can to pray for peace. When I was in Philadelphia last week, I felt like I wasn't even safe pulling up at the Wawa to get gas. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about one Wawa. I'm talking about like 3 Wawas I drove to and didn't want to get out of my car at any of them. And then just tonight, there was a double murder at a Wawa in South Philly. And I'm just like, I got to put a special prayer for peace out for my hometown, for my city of Philadelphia. I got to do it tonight. And I think the best way that we can send out a prayer for peace to Philadelphia, for everyone that's lost their lives this weekend. Oh, it's horrible. I don't even want to get into the particulars, but I do want to play our remixed rendition of Oseh Shalom. And I'm a little emotional because I know a couple people that were involved in some of this violence this weekend, and it's just totally torn me apart inside. So I really want to pass it over to Rhyme, and maybe Rhyme, you can give a more. I'm already like kind of getting, you know, like a little teared up, but maybe you can kind of talk about Oseh Shalom and its importance of a prayer, and maybe speak on 1 or 2 lines of your verses before we kick it off.
Absolutely, Ben, and thank you for taking the time to acknowledge this, Crates. And also in the midst of our joy tonight, you know, I had been able to put that to the back of my mind too, but it's very real. Philadelphia is a city that has always struggled, but I agree. This year, or these last few weeks, this week and this weekend, like greatest upticks in violence. And I know that that's not what this city is actually. It's not what the city represents, but unfortunately, it's a cycle that a lot of people within the confines of the city are you know, caught in. So, you know, I'm blanking on which specific line to reference from the song, so I'm going to keep it general and we'll listen to it. But yeah, I just really want to echo what Crates said, especially like a lot, you know, I know this week in particular, we had a lot of young women in the city of Philadelphia that were victimized by violence. And, you know, that felt like that was a really big marker for a lot of people that they had been desensitized to the violence, but this was a bit of a new level.
This was a wake-up call.
Exactly. And again, we all know that at the end of the day, that's not, that there's so much more to the city than that. And that's not what the city comes down to. But in this time, you know, it is important to recognize it. I'm glad Crates did. And, you know, for anybody listening tonight, we do just wish you some peace, you know, within yourself and your own community. And to know that, you know, it is okay to have hope in the darkest moments. It's okay to lose hope sometimes. But we hope that, no pun intended, but that'll, you know, come back and flourish as it should, and especially in the confines of a very beautiful environment like Philadelphia.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right, well, Rhyme, you have an incredible contribution to this track. I also want to shout out Papa Left, who's featured on this track, and obviously one of our musical and spiritual leaders, Matt Barr, is featured on this. So this will kind of be like the last prayer and song that we play tonight. But I hope that everybody that's tuning in now or who will tune in later will take this moment during the song to have a personal moment of prayer for peace, for wholeness, for health, and for happiness. Amen.
Shalom Bimroma, Booyah, say Shalom Aleinu, Le'al Kol Yisrael. Shalom Aleinu, V'Yakol Yisrael, V'Imru Amen. Y'all say shalom, 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 y'all say shalom.
Y'all say shalom, I play Capone. Actually, I'm Maya, who passing me the lighter. We bout to take you higher. You waiting on Messiah. They hit you with the hezzy. Get on your Hezekiah. Till heaven is your climbing. The devil wants attention. I dead him off with silence. Though violence is cathartic, remember your assignment. Recorded on papyrus. They cannot ignore it, not even in the slightest. Talking about a blockchain, these tokens came from Titus. Before there was a pilot, we was flying on Osiris. Try us.
Sharp sources of pruning force, then pruning force to tuning chords, a higher type of harmony. When we know we ain't harming, we sharp sources of pruning force, then pruning force to tuning chords, a higher type of harmony. When we know we ain't harming, we say shalom b'rama, booyah, say shalom aleinu, V'Yakol Yisrael, V'Imru Amen. Oh, say shalom b'rama, booyah, say shalom aleinu, V'Yakol Yisrael, V'Imru Amen. Y'all say shalom, 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 y'all say shalom. One day we'll peace out, go fishing with Trump and Hillary Clinton, eye to eye, fist to fist, no fist cuffs, only fist bumps. We need to talk it out. Alphabet text, introduce yourself. A B C D E F G H I, hi, H I.
One day we could just listen to what the artist has written. Smidgens the hardest renditions of where the pain lies. One day we'll embrace differences, cause that type of division feels like it ended, but really it's just a gray sky. And it hardly ever rains on the west side, but I'm rocking with the gang out of best time. Trying to unify, strive to the next high. Gotta get by with a head high and set the example. I know the fight that's a hand is a handful. Let's settle down, get around. With my brother MC and we don't mean no Rambo. Hip hop is a sample of the feeling of peace it projects from the core. Let us dismantle the systems that keep us attached to the floor. Ain't back in the war. I throw two fingers up to the Shemesh. Stick to my moral ground, that's how I stay sound without no regrets. I got the best love and I'm spreading it far as it gets. And I tell you to bless up, cause reality hard as a desk. So when I'm starting to fret, gotta let anxiety get away. Cause I know larger the stress, the larger the bet, there's gotta be better days. Say
shalom b'rama, booyah, say shalom aleinu, V'Yakol Yisrael, V'Imru Amen. Oh, say shalom b'rama, booyah, say shalom aleinu, V'Yakol Yisrael, V'Imru Amen. Y'all say shalom, 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 y'all say shalom.
Yeah, amen. Prayer for peace. So
Amen.
I want to do something a little different to end out our service for tonight. Normally we do a cipher at the end where everybody kind of joins in and raps along to something in the theme of what we talked about. But what I want to do is just really quick talk about really the importance and power of music. And it's been it's been a rough couple years for everybody. But a lot of people I know, for some reason, the last couple weeks, including myself, really, I don't know if it's retrograde, I don't know what's going on, but it's been a really rough couple weeks for a lot of us, including myself. And one thing that came across my YouTube stream about a week ago, I feel like it kind of hit me for a reason. It was like, I've never heard of these people. I don't follow them. I don't know them from anything. And I don't know what made me click on their video or click on their song. And man, Adam, you'll laugh. I'm on my 101st listen to this song. You know what I mean? Like I've had some dark times the last couple of weeks, and every time I've been feeling down, I've turned this song on. The main members of this group are Jewish, which makes it like so much more special for our rappers and rabbis crew. And what makes it even more special is they're really a gospel group. They're like a Jewish soul gospel group. They're from the New York area, but they have a big following and parts of their fellowship in the Atlanta area. You can check them out doing Hanukkah songs online, all the way to doing like gospel anthems. And they're
Is it
so
Josh Nelson?
no.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's something that's not on anybody's radar.
Okay.
But if anyone's tuned in, including y'all, when you hear and see this, you're gonna freak out. So for the last song tonight, I'm gonna play this song and the video. The song is called "Don't Lose Sight." And the name of the band is called Lawrence, which is their last names. And the leaders of the group are Gracie and Clyde Lawrence, along with their brother Linus Lawrence. They're from New York. They're like child prodigies turned like soul gospel rock stars. I'm blown away by their music, but this one song in particular, I've been playing over and over and over for the last couple weeks. I found this video, it was maybe at like 5,000 views on YouTube. Just in the past 2 weeks, it's skyrocketed to almost 250,000 views. It's starting to go viral. People in the industry are starting to talk about them. It's something so special. But I think that this song really brings a lot of meaning to what we've been talking about throughout the whole night, which has been Havdallah, Sukkot, Simchat Torah, and really just togethership, being together, being a fellowship. And I think this group really puts all those in an incredible blender. So I'm going to play this song and this video for "Don't Lose Sight" by Lawrence the Band. I really hope y'all enjoy this. I hope everybody that's tuning in enjoys this, as this song has brought me so much positive peace and love in the past couple weeks.
Thanks, great.
This is gonna kill me, but I won't let it. And I try to give them hell, but they don't get it. So I tell myself when I sleep at night, oh,
don't lose sight, baby, don't lose sight. 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 All right, let's go. Don't lose sight, baby, don't lose sight. Don't lose sight, baby, don't lose sight. Oh, we're not gonna lose sight. Don't lose sight, baby, don't lose sight. Are you kidding me? I'm getting sick of the industry. I've had enough of the make-believe. Oh please, am I lost or found? I'm getting sick of the ups and downs. No need to give me the run around. I'm out.
This shit's gonna kill me, but I won't let it. And I try to give them hell, but they don't get it. So I tell myself when I sleep at night, don't lose sight, baby, don't lose sight. And they try to give me up, but I won't give it. And this life will get you down, but I keep living. So I tell myself when I sleep at night, don't lose sight, baby, don't lose sight.
Kidding me? I'm getting sick of the in-between. Burning in place isn't interesting to me. Am I good enough? Oh, it's not even that I'm is it love? I'm checking the prices, I'll give it up. Now what?
This shit's gonna kill me, but I won't let it. And I try to give them hell, but they don't get it. So I tell myself when I sleep at night, don't lose sight, baby, don't lose sight. And they try to give me up, but I won't
shit ain't ever gonna change. It ain't ever gonna change. It ain't ever gonna change.
And this shit ain't never gonna change. No. Ain't never gonna change. No. Ain't never gonna change. Oh, and this shit's gonna kill me, but I won't let it. And this shit's gonna kill me, but I won't let it. So I tell myself when I sleep at night. And this shit's gonna kill me, but I won't let it. And I try to give them hell, but they don't get it. So I tell myself when I sleep at night, don't lose sight, baby, don't lose sight. And they try to give me up, but I won't give it. And this life will get you down, but I keep living. So I tell myself when I sleep at night, don't lose sight, baby, don't lose sight.
No, it ain't ever gonna
Shine.
No, it ain't ever gonna Crazy.
No, it ain't never gonna change.
Jordan, give us a low one.
No, it ain't ever gonna change.
Three, one last one.
It ain't never gonna
And this shit ain't never gonna change. It ain't never gonna change. It ain't never gonna change. This shit ain't never gonna change. It ain't never gonna change. It ain't never gonna change. And this shit ain't never gonna change. It ain't never gonna change. It ain't never gonna change. And this shit ain't never gonna. Ooh, yeah. It ain't never gonna change, baby. Change. And this shit ain't never gonna change. It ain't never gonna change. But I'm never gonna change. No.
Whew. All right, I think that was probably it.
Yeah.
And that's Lawrence the Band, y'all. So that's homework for next week. Do some research. Everyone tuned in. Lawrence the Band. So special. I don't know if you looked at the last names or even before they showed the names. You can kind of hear the Jewish influence in the melodies, in the musicianship. It's really something special. So I think that was something really good to end tonight with. What do y'all think? Y'all like that?
Yep. Thanks, man.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man, that's a blessing. So, I'm always a believer in the youth. I really feel like the best change in the world is going to come from the upgrade of the generations and seeing those young people playing such sophisticated, amazing music, but with such a simple, positive message that don't let the world change you. Just no matter what, be yourself and be the best version of yourself that you can be. I think that's something really great to leave tonight on a good note. So, again, we're rappers and rabbis. I want to thank everybody, Rabbi Adam, Matt, Texture Tali, Internal Rhyme. For everybody that's tuned in and likes what we did tonight, come check us out in person in Philadelphia, October 28th. We're all going to be doing a special performance together featuring members of our fellowship, Papa Left and Mr. E, myself and Matt. Text Rich Ali, Adam. A lot of us are going to be in the building in person. So come network with us and let's celebrate Sukkot, Simchat Torah, and the change of the new year all together in person. And that's it for tonight. That's it for me. I go by Digital Crates and representing for the Rappers and Rabbis crew.
See you next week.
See everyone.
Bye.